And what some call the black majority government of South Africa is intensifying its attack against white Afrikaner minority. One America's Kristian Rouz examines the issue of so-called white genocide.
South Africa's black majority government is ramping up attacks on white landowners in the country. Last month, the Rainbow Nations Parliament passed a law allowing the government to seize land without compensation from the Afrikaner people, descendants of European settlers who first arrived to the Cape of Good Hope in mid-17th century.
Redistribution is simply to say, if you are white and you own land, we're going to take that from you. And that's what this policy is about. And that's what we are against.
Is that how you read it?
Yeah, well, I think that's very clearly what it's about. We heard in Parliament the way it was argued was with statements such as white people are criminals and white people stole the land and so forth. And I think our history is much more complex than simply making generalized statements like that.
However, the Afrikaner resistance movement says the new law adds to what they call white genocide and encourages rampant farm attacks and murders that have swept across the nation since the early 1990s.
I think the government in South Africa can do more. They keep silent about this farm murders for a very long time. It's going on for a few years now, not doing anything.
Meantime, South Africa's new president Cyril Ramaphosa supports the new law, saying it will promote greater social justice. To support his attacks against Afrikaners, Ramaphosa stressed 95% of South Africa's wealth belongs to 10% of population, such as the powerful Gupta family hailing from India.
I will give him a rifle, I will load it, and I will stand still so that he can finish what they began. But I want to see if he's a man, because he can shout out to the youngsters and tell them to go and murder the farmers on their farms.
According to a report from the Institute for Race Relations, the black African majority government of the Marxist African National Congress owns 22% of South Africa's land. The rest, around 78%, is in private hands, of which the racial composition is not clear. In response to South Africa's new law, the government of Australia said it would welcome the Afrikaners who are being forced out of their country due to the threat of prosecution, property deprivation and murder.
Let's be frank, if we see, in this case, people who are being thrown off their land, being persecuted. I've read some harrowing reports of people being shot, of rapes, of all sorts of different things. Then I do believe that there's a role to be played.
Over the past 24 years, since the end of apartheid, the ANC-led government has failed to tackle the rampant poverty among South Africa's black population due to corruption, cronyism and economic mismanagement. A once prosperous and highly industrialized first world nation, South Africa saw an economic decline over the past 3 decades, accompanied by the excessive dependence on commodity exports, crumbling infrastructure and rampant crime. However, the ANC has blamed Afrikaners and the European colonialism for the nation's struggle under its own rule, encouraging the attacks, murder and AIDS rape against white farmers.
Africa not a corrupt country. That's all come from the America and Europe to the Africa. And then whatever they want to do, all the minerals or anything they want to take it away from here, that's a corruption.
The Afrikaner resistance movement has demanded the ANC government provide better protections from the racially motivated attacks against them, but South African police have downplayed the issue, calling the attacks simple robbery attempts.
You can't become a doctor as easily or even a pilot as easily when you are white in South Africa at the moment because of the affirmative action policy that the government has, and we feel that we can contribute to South Africa, but they won't allow us to do.
The destruction of property rights and policies against the Afrikaner people, encouraged by the ANC and a number of radical left movements, leaves white South Africans with little choice but to leave their country. Kristian, Rouz, One American News.
We can use your help. Call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call today.